In my last video, I spoke about all the problems that Canadians are facing, so this video might come as a surprise to you. So as I was making the video last week, I thought to myself, how wealthy are Canadians after all? And I wanted to look at some latest data because I hadn't seen that in a long time. So I looked at the data from 2024 and I was surprised quite a lot. People often say, don't compare yourself to others or don't feel bad about your financial situation. Well, I'm here to tell you that it really depends. It depends on why you're feeling left out. If it's because you were investing in your education or career, that's cool. But if you're wasting your money on hooks and drugs, then absolutely feel bad about it. Of course, that was an exaggerated example, but what I'm saying is that you should not shy away from taking charge of your finances and trying to do better for yourself. Don't get caught up in self-pity. Try to set goals and try to achieve them. And this video might help you actually see where you stand today. Let's get real about where Canadians stand today money-wise, and you might just be surprised about where you are. Let's begin. Let's start by looking at the average net worth of the Canadian household from 2020 to 2024, which has been quite a roller coaster. Here's how it's evolved. In 2020, it was around $760,000 on average. In 2021, $950,000. In 22, it was just above a million, and then in 23, it dropped a little. And then in 24, it was again over $1 million. Basically, we see the Canadian household net worth steadily increase from 2020 to 2022, driven by the real estate and financial market gains. The Canadian household net worth actually grew from 2020 to 2022. Then somewhere in 2022 it started dropping, and in 23 it was lower than 2022. It was mostly because the financial markets and the housing market was coming down. But now in 2024, in the middle of a raging bull market, everybody's household net worth is back to where it was. So are you surprised? The average net worth of a household is over $1 million in Canada, something that a lot of people are not aware of. But it's time to wake up. People have money. But do they really have money, or do they hold assets? Yes, you're right. They actually hold assets. It's not all cash that we are talking about. And as you'd expect in Canada, a lot of this net worth is actually tied in the real estate market. Real estate plays a huge role in Canadian wealth, making over 50% of household net worth. This has actually been true all the way from 2020 to 2024. It actually peaked in 22 with about 56% of net worth tied in the real estate market. Here's the breakdown for last year. The total assets are somewhere close to $1.2 million. Liabilities are just below $200,000, and real estate accounts for over $500,000. That's how you end up with the average net worth of just over $1 million. So as you'll see, real estate as a percent of net worth in 2024 is over 50% still. This just shows us how much Canadians rely on real estate to make and store their wealth. The numbers tell a clear story. Real estate drove much of the net worth increase from $760,000 in 2020 to over $1 million in 2024, despite liabilities creeping up. Before you start overthinking, here's something that you should know about. The Canadian real estate market is one of the most overvalued ones right now in the whole world. While real estate might feel like a safe bet, it's important to diversify your portfolio. Relying too heavily on one asset class can actually increase your risk, especially in a volatile market. Generally, everybody should try to spread their investments across real estate, stocks, bonds, and other assets, including Bitcoin, to protect yourself from potential downturns. There's one data point that really shocked me, and that was the difference between homeowners and renters, a wealth gap that keeps growing. Just look at the comparison of 2024. The average net worth of a owner is around $1.4 million, while a renter's net worth is just around $270,000. Again, this data point really shocked me. I knew there would be a gap. I knew there would be a difference. However, it's over $1 million. Both groups actually experienced steady growth in net worth from 2020 to 2024, with homeowners seeing a 33% increase and renters growing by 31%. So yes, the key driver of this disparity is actually the appreciation in the housing market. Renters have very little exposure to the housing market. They are mostly relying on financial assets to grow their wealth. They might hold some REITs, but that's pretty much it. The next thing that I'm going to share is something that everybody is going to find quite interesting, and that is the average net worth by age group. For folks below the age of 35, it's over $330,000. These are all the people who are early in their career. Their net worth is lower as they are building assets and managing debt. Canadians under 35 actually saw their net worth grow from around $230,000 in 2020 to $338,000 in 2024. Yes, this number is quite high, and I was surprised as well, and this was despite student loans and the early career challenges that people are facing. I'm pretty sure this is getting worse and worse. However, these are the numbers from 2024. Then in the age group of 35 to 44, the net worth actually jumps to over $650,000. Age 35 to 44 is when your financial assets are growing the fastest because compounding has really taken over your investments. There are also a lot of people in this age group that are investing into the real estate market. They have saved up for years and years and now they have finally been able to invest in the housing market. And this is why you see the net worth doubling and almost exploding at this point. Then once we reach the age of 45 to 54, we see that the average net worth is over $1.3 million. Then the age group 55 to 64 has their net worth around $1.6 million. So as you see, the age groups of 45 to 64 are the ones who hold a lot of wealth. In this age group, most people have already paid off their mortgages and now their wealth is just growing. And finally, if you look at age 65 plus, their net worth is around $1.1 million on average. So if you're an average person, your net worth actually peaks in your 50s or early 60s, and then you have to start using that money more aggressively. This is mostly because people are retiring and now they have to dip into their savings to start spending their money. So this was an interesting section and I'm pretty sure you did not expect the numbers to be so high. But here's another interesting comparison, the net worth by household type. When comparing one person and multi-person households, a wealth gap is clear, but some interesting trends emerge. By 2024, multi-person households have nearly double the net worth of single-person households. 1.2 million versus $600,000. This difference is mainly due to multi-person households having larger total assets, that is 1.4 million versus around $700,000. Real estate plays a major role for both groups, making up 55% of net worth for multi-person households and 45% for single-person households. This also suggests that the multi-person households are more reliant on property. On the plus side, this also means that one-person households may be diversifying their assets, reducing their risk in a housing downturn. But here's an interesting trend. One-person households are closing the gap in terms of growth. From 2020 to 2024, their net worth increased by 40% compared to 29.4% for multi-person households. So far we have been looking at the average net worth of people, but we should also look at the median net worth. But before that, if you're enjoying the video so far, hit like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you're looking at these net worth values and feeling too far behind, don't worry yet. The difference between median and average net worth explains why. The median is a better measure because it's the middle point. Half of households have more and half have less, while the average is skewed by the ultra wealthy. For instance, even though we saw that the average net worth is over $1 million, the median is actually $500,000. It's still very high, but it's actually half the value that we saw in the beginning. While Statistics Canada stopped reporting net worth after 2019, you can estimate that the typical household's net worth is likely about 50% lower than the average today. So this gives us a more accurate picture of most Canadians' financial standing. So use the median as a benchmark because it can give you a much clearer picture of your financial reality. If you see the net worth by income level, you'll see something that is quite obvious. The lowest quintile average net worth is around $375,000 and the highest is around $2.3 million. So this makes quite a lot of sense because the more money people earn, the more money they can invest and grow their wealth, and that's why the higher quintile has the higher net worth. But before you start using that as an excuse to not grow your wealth, here's something very interesting. The middle class households, 41 to 80%, saw the fastest percentage growth of their net worth. They have quietly been building wealth, benefiting from rising real estate and their investments. This basically shows you that you don't have to be at the top of the pyramid to grow your wealth. You just need to make sure you're making your money, you're saving it, you're investing it, and making sure you're keeping as much of it as possible. There's also a lot of other interesting data out there that compares the net worth of Canadians to other developed countries' citizens. Feel free to pause and go over it. However, I want to highlight a couple of things. If you compare Canada and the US, the average net worth of the US citizens are much higher than the Canadians. However, if you look at the median, Canadians are higher than the people in the US. Here's another striking thing. Whether you look at the median or the average, Canadians are doing much better than people in Japan, China, Sweden, France, and Germany. I would say UK and Canada are quite close to each other. I was perhaps most surprised to see how much higher Australia's net worth was than Canada. Australians have a median net worth 80% higher than Canadians and an average net worth 34% higher. Here's the funny part. Two of the biggest housing bubbles right now are actually in Australia and Canada, so expect these numbers to come down in the years to come. Not something that I'm super psyched about, but it also seems like this is something that's inescapable in the years to come. Again, I've mentioned this a couple of times in my videos. Check out the 18.6-year real estate cycle. So these numbers are great, but what do we do with this? How can we use these numbers to our advantage? Think of these numbers as a tool to set realistic goals and build wealth strategically. Step 1, as I just mentioned, set realistic goals. Use net worth data to see where you stand and set achievable targets. Next, you have to prioritize investing. Wealthy households grow their net worth through investing, not just earning. Never forget that. Then you have to diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments to mitigate risk and ensure steady growth. Next, you have to ensure that you're managing your debt properly. Keep an eye on your debt to income ratio. While debt can help you build wealth, especially in the real estate market, too much can actually drag you down. The next one is to plan for retirement. No matter what you do not lose sight of your retirement or financial freedom, no matter how you want to look at it. Make sure you're contributing enough to your retirement accounts to secure your financial future. And finally, don't forget to stay informed. Keep up with economic trends, policy changes, and market conditions. Knowledge is a superpower when it comes to building wealth, and that's what I'm trying to do with my channel as well. Hope you can see that. So there you have it, all the numbers I wanted to cover in this video. Canada's wealth picture in 2024 looked quite good. Let's see what happens in 2025 and beyond. As we saw in my previous video, younger generations are definitely struggling at this point. However, don't lose sight. Keep at it. Keep making money, keep investing your money, and also don't forget to stay informed. I'll see you next week in a new video. Till then, keep learning and stay on top of your finances. Until next time.